something is sealed, it means it is closed. And it's protected. So when he says we are sealed with the Spirit, we should be closed to the world and we are protected. We just need to get and realize who we are and what we are. So we haven't got a revelation of what Christ has done for us. And this is very desperate that we know it. So if we go back to sealing from the beginning, the principle of first mentioning is very important because it sets the order of the patterns that was going to follow. And when it comes to seals, it is actually, what? Because the first time a seal is mentioned is in Deuteronomy 32. This is when God said to Moses, these people are going to send themselves bankrupt. The nation I have chosen. When you die, Moses, they're gonna just go all over the place. They're not going to realize what they've done. They're going to mess it up. But my purpose is forever. So go write them a song and sing them a song. And this is part of the song Moses sang to them. For their vine is a vine of Sodom, and their fields are the fields of Gomorrah. And their grapes are the grapes of gall, and their clusters are bitter. That's why they were the winepress that was trodden, because it was not acceptable to God. They totally disappointed. Now he says, their wine is the poison of dragons and cruel of venom asps. When Jesus came, he said, use serpent seed. That whole system was infiltrated with serpent seed. Is this laid up in store with me and sealed among my treasures? To me belongs vengeance and recompense, and their roots slide in due time, for the day of their calamity is at hand. And the things that shall come upon them, make haste, please. This is just before they go into the promised land. He says their calamity is sealed because they didn't have a heart like King David. This is why when Jesus' genealogy in the Spirit is Jesus Christ, son of David, son of Abraham, the man with a heart and the man with a faith. But the natural seed line, they didn't have the heart and they didn't have the faith. They didn't have the obedience. And they were living totally in deception, opening the door to all kinds of idolatry, defiling the system that God gave them. And God says he has sealed this in his treasury, that their end will be a calamity and a day of vengeance and a burning. This is crazy. So when we preach that you cannot go back to the law, you cannot go back to the temple, you cannot rebuild the temple, you cannot visit Jerusalem as Jerusalem, Jerusalem. What about the New Jerusalem? So it's not that you're anti-Semitic, it's that we have to start having a revelation on the new. Now, when something is sealed, it is closed. Now, this whole calamity of Israel was also sealed because he says he sealed it in his treasures. And you will see as time goes, revelation goes and grows and opens up, and the seals are broken. Now, I want to read to you in Deuteronomy 29, just before this, God said, the secret things belongs to God, to the Lord our God. Actually, Moses said it. The secret things belongs to the Lord our God, but the things which are revealed belong to us and our children forever and ever, that we may do the words of the Lord. So when things are closed, it's like we can't find our way. It's like going into Chicago without a GPS. It's a mess. This is how Christians are like. We're going, but we don't know where we're going. We're coming, but we don't know where we come from. We do not understand our purpose. We lack understanding. We lack knowledge. We lack vision. And he says, if you do not have those things, you're not going to fulfill the purpose. That's what it's all about. your life will actually miss the purpose of what it was created. So Ecclesiastes 3 says, there is a time and a season for every purpose. So guys, we are living in time. There is a purpose for my days, and I have to find it. And every morning is a new opportunity for you to find out your purpose. So what you need to do every morning is you need to wake up. So the minute you wake up in the Spirit, that's exactly the time that you will step into the purposes of God. Now, if it's sealed, it means it's not known, it's covered, it's closed. But when the seal is broken, we know it. I hate secret things. I absolutely hate it when I don't know what's going on. As long as I know what's going on, I'll forgive them, I'll set them free. But when people lie all around you and you don't know, it sort of eats like a cancer on you, and it is not God. So the word is Spirit-breathed, and the Spirit will open the word. Why must you read this precious word and not understand it? How are you going to read it? By learning the spiritual language. If you don't learn English, you're not going to read an English Bible. You can't talk English. If you can't speak Afrikaans, you're not going to understand when we speak around you. But if you speak Afrikaans, I was on an airport and there were 2 Afrikaans people. So when you're overseas, you get used to people not understanding what you say. And they were talking about me and I'm sitting there listening. So when I left them till they finished and I said, ja, ek stem nie heeltemal saam met julle nie. It was quite a shock. So it's like, guys, if you can understand the Spirit language, you will understand the word. The Spirit language is Spirit. It's numbers and symbols and parables and visions, and you got to understand it. So start, Annalise, but I don't know it. Well, start somewhere. A, B, C. 1, 2, 3. 1 is unity. 2 is agreement. 3 is God. 4 is earth. 5 is a hand. It's God's ministry. 6 is the number of man. It's 1 short of 7. 7 is God's number. 10 is complete. Do you get it? This is like, just start somewhere. If you learn something every day, you're going to eventually master it. Now, he says in 2 Corinthians 3 verse 6, I would actually like to read this for you. He says, He have made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter, but of the Spirit. Now, when he talks about the letter, it's the law, but of the Spirit. For the letter kills, but the Spirit gives life. So if you, with a natural mind, read the Bible, it's like a law book. It kills you. But this is in connection with when Moses came down from the mountain, his face covered, and he couldn't speak to the people but cover his face because they couldn't see the glory that was coming. He didn't even see the front side of God, but it already changed him. And he didn't want them to see the glory that was fading. Now, at the end of this chapter, he said, now if you turn to the Lord, now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. I'm going to read you the previous verse, verse 16. Nevertheless, when we shall turn to the Lord, the veil is taken away. Because if you read the law and judgmental, it's like there's a veil. In other words, guys, it's closed. You cannot see. Even if you read the Bible, it's veiled. He says, but when you turn to the Lord, the veil is removed. And the Lord is the Spirit. Now look at this. But we all, with open face, beholding as a glass the glory of God, are changed into the same image from glory to glory. So Christ in us is the hope of glory. But there was a glory of the old. Now there's a hope of glory. But if we read with an open face, we will be changed from glory to glory. You know what it says? It says everything that is written is going to be revealed to us and manifest in us. And we will be the manifested sons on the earth. Listen, I'm so tired of hearing, I'm going to be it. I want to be it now. It's time. It's time that we really wake up to this. There is an open face. Now, Isaiah had to prophesy to Israel just before they went to Babylon. You will see, but you will not see. You will hear, but you will not hear. And then God says in Isaiah 8 verse 7, he says, and God turned his face away from them. But here he says, we're going to see him face to face, open face, face to face. So if you have the Spirit, you're going to start, what? You will jump on your bed like me. So he says, we do not know what we shall be. But when we see him, we shall be like him. Because the more we see it, the more it changes us from the inside out. Remember, you are sealed with the Spirit. Now, the first mention is always setting the pattern. So we need to understand that the sealed things are in God's treasury. But when they're revealed, it is ours. And it is so pathetic that Israel did not receive the law. Then the law was added. They did not receive it. And when Isaiah prophesied to them and said, your eyes are closed, the very pattern of prophecy they carried, when Jesus came, they did not receive him. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. And then they were sent to Babylon for 70 years. Now, this is crazy. Daniel was taken to Babylon when he was about 16 years. So 16 plus 70, he must have been 80, 90, when more or less, he was an old man. He has spent his whole life in captivity. Faithful. Oh my word. He wouldn't bow. He wouldn't fall for money. He didn't fall for food, though everything was taken away from him. He did not compromise. When they said, you shall not pray, he just kept praying. And he was thrown in the lion's den, bringing out the prophecy of Christ that was going to be in the lion's den. And a stone was rolled before the den with the king's seal on it. So, whoa, this brings us back to all the kings of the Old Testament. This is why they used seals. If the king's seal was on it, nobody could change it. And it doesn't even matter. You cannot change what is there. But if it's broken, everybody knows what's going on. Only the king could break it. And if a king's seal was broken, someone read it that shouldn't read it. And he was killed. So sealing something was a great major thing. So when Daniel was in the lion's den, it was sealed. Nobody could change it. The king, he's a king. Every night he had another woman. He could eat what he wants to. He's the king. He can do what he wants to. The Bible says that night, he didn't sleep. He didn't have woman. He didn't have nothing. And early in the morning, he ran to the place where Daniel was. He opened and rolled the stone away. Daniel, did your God save you? And Daniel came, yeah, what's wrong? I slept so nice and warm. Didn't you sleep? Come on. Early in the morning, Mary Magdalene went to the grave and the seal was broken. Who opened it? The king. So it is okay if you open the seals. But when God opens the stuff, oh my, it means he really wants us to have it.